Hey, I got a question for you. How is Notre Dame still? How is their mascot the Fighting Irish? Isn't that offensive? Like, how do we not have Washington Redskins, but you still have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
It's time for the Bookie and the Bettors show, live from Baldini's Casino. Beat the Bookie. Make every bet count. Reno's #1 sports radio show is now on streaming platforms. Now, introducing the Bookie, Rob Kowalski, and the Bettors, Randy Wike and Nick Schulte.
Welcome to yet another episode of the Bookie and Bettors show. I am your host, Robert Kowalski. Here once again in cool, rainy, some places snowy Reno Sparks, Nick.
Are we going to have a winner this year? I mean, it looks like it might have just shown up.
It's
kind
sloppy-ish.
Of,
it's kind of still mucky outside, but that's okay.
Just in time for the weekend, just what everybody likes.
Because we're inside Baldini's Casino once again, and we're here to talk about, Super Bowl 59, obviously. We are going to get to how both Nick and myself got to the final score of this game. And for the first time really ever, Nick, some far more excitement where there's usually this little bit of a lull in news. NBA trading deadline happened exactly around the time that Super Bowl week plus came around, and boy, oh boy, do we have some things to talk about. As of this recording, 9 either current or former NBA All-Stars have been traded in the past 7 days, Nick. Everybody.
It's a lot of movement. Fire sales?
We can talk about that for Dallas, yes, and everyone will remember where they were when they found out that Luka Dončić was traded from the Dallas Mavericks to the LA Lakers.
You'll have to help me
I will
find a way to make that make sense.
No. This is where you come in, and you need to help parse this out for me.
I'll do my best.
Nico Harrison. I learned who Nico Harrison was late Saturday night. I actually didn't even know he was the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, why would you?
Until we found out that, yes, it was him, and the trade that was pulled off for without a doubt, in my opinion, someone that obviously led them just recently to the NBA Finals, first team All-NBA every single year in his prime, face of the Mavericks, franchise cornerstone by every measure. Nick Schulte, he's untouchable.
I'm going to throw a challenge flag on that. It looks like he got traded.
Nico Harrison traded him over coffee in a would you ever conversation with Rob Pelinka. So, Nick, here we are having a seat, having a cup of coffee.
Is that pure espresso?
Yes, it is. As I took a vigorous swig. Not too good for those listening, and not quite the good visual. However, here's the issue that I had with this. The deals involving all-stars, perennial all-stars, right? Kevin Durant in 2023. The Nets got Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and 4 first-round picks, and then a pick swap. Rudy Gobert, I remember this one. I laughed loud. Wolves Jazz, received by the Jazz was 4 first-round picks, pick swap in 2026, plus players, including Walter Kessler, Malik Beasley. There's a lot of players that were involved in it. Donovan Mitchell, 2022. Cavs Jazz again. The Jazz get 3 first-round picks, 2 pick swaps. Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, who's very good. Paul George, let's go back to that. Clippers Thunder. The Thunder got 5 first-round picks. Some young kid named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He was kind of good. And now Anthony Davis, again, involved in a deal. Anthony Davis, when the Lakers and Pelicans made the deal, the Pelicans got 3 first-round picks, plus Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart. So we know that Luka Dončić is a once-in-a-generation player. If Nico Harrison picks up the phone and rings every general manager and says, hey,
what would you give me?
What would you give me? So actually, who wouldn't you give in the league right now for Luka Dončić? Defend it. Tell me, here's why I don't want Luka Dončić.
Because it doesn't make sense. There's got to be something. Maybe I'll put my tinfoil hat on real quick, but there's got to be something more here. Player personalities, or they want to move in a different direction. I mean, keep in mind, Dallas Mavericks are under new ownership. Is it the first season or the second season? Same people that own the Venetian.
There we go.
So if there's something with that where it's like, hey, I got to make my $1 billion back that I just paid for this team, so let's, cut all of our dead cap space. I don't know. There's, to me, not knowing the full details of it, there's something like we're missing a piece to this. Now I know that they said that he was overweight and this. I'm sorry, if you're a professional athlete, yeah, like give them a couple of weeks to get the rust off, getting back in conditioning shape, and especially for basketball. I mean, it's 82 game season. They got so it doesn't make sense. I just there's got to be some either financial reason behind it, or is then I go the other way from what do you think LeBron had to do with this? They had to. Do they make any moves on the Lakers without asking King James?
LeBron James stated he was surprised that he had no idea it was coming, and he was processing it at the time of the announcement. He was actually out to dinner when it was announced. He had no idea. No idea, Nick Schulte.
Yeah, that's...
It gets so much better, though. Okay, so if the Mavs decided they suddenly didn't like Luka Dončić, didn't want to extend him, right? Because he's due after the 2026 season Supermax deal, right? So that's as high as it can go. Whatever, fine. You don't want to extend him, whatever. The best deal you could get in a league where teams spend years building up assets, praying a scenario like this happens, is a 31-year-old Anthony Davis and 1 first-round pick.
Yeah. Again, like I said, it doesn't make sense. There's got to be something more here that we're not seeing. And to answer your original question, players that I would not move, Steph Curry.
I would move Steph Curry immediately. I could see your Bay Area bias.
Okay, but I mean, best shooter in the history of the game. Changes the game. You gotta scheme around him, and then really. Not taking anything away from Clay, and obviously when Durant was there, they did. But would you consider the Warriors a super team by today's standards?
Yeah,
you would. Okay, well, if you do. But
they were not anymore. But yeah,
with KD for sure. But
yes.
but they still won 3 championships without him.
Okay, great. You mentioned him. Would you trade Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Would you trade Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
Yes.
Would you trade Jokic?
Probably.
Oh my. All right.
Again, I look at it's a team sport, and especially back. There's I think an argument to be made that the basketball could be more of a team sport than almost any sport because there's only 5 guys on there. They all got to kind of dish that rock around and work together to find open looks and get rebounds, and you really got to have chemistry and personality that meshes and works. And if you can have all the talent in the world, and again, look at the quote unquote dream team of 2020 that had all this stuff around it, and they took bronze, I think. But the talent was there, right? So what happened, right? And I think he just got that personality mesh, and I feel like there's something there to this trade.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, I would not trade him.
All right, so there's less than 5 fingers on a hand.
But again, I go back to him, and he's like, hey, he's been with the same team. He plays offense and defense, and he's a guy that, or all of my teammates around him are going to play it up to his level. They're going to give it their 110%. But when they see King flop, just kind of taking a charge or whatever it might be on the floor, do you really want to dive for that loose ball? Do you really want to go the extra mile when the quote unquote greatest of all time, self-proclaimed? I'm not a LeBron James fan, if you can't tell. He graduated high school the same year I did. Class of 2003. He's still
running the floor.
$100 million Nike contract, before he even played in his first game.
And he even had a decision. Nick.
So,
okay, I got to call back to something because you said something that I was going to mention if you weren't going to, but you hit it. I don't even know if you expected to hit it. The new owner, right? It's Mark Cuban still has a piece. I think 20 some odd percent. It's less than 25%. Yeah. But the primary owner of this franchise is Adelson.
Yeah, the Adelson family.
Right. Who happened to own a mega resort here in Nevada, and they also own one in
Macau.
Follow me here. Chris, tinfoil. Not now, just AI it over our heads for this one. This one's a real good one. Just follow me here. This is possibly the greatest scam of all time.
All right.
Here we go. Dončić gets traded to the Lakers.
Okay.
Because now Dallas Mavericks fans get really sour on the franchise. They start losing games. Attendance starts to drop. No reason to come and watch this team. Adelson moves the franchise.
See where we're going.
NBA,
Yeah.
the Las Vegas Mavericks.
Look what it did for the valuation of the Raiders. I mean, when's the last time the Raiders were good? I wasn't even alive. They made the Super Bowl back in 2001, but that's a whole different thing. But okay, I can
Team starts tanking, attendance drops, owner says, "I'm out."
But it's Texas, and you know, as a Cowboys hater for life, I feel like Texas fans are pretty sticky. You know, I mean, when's the last time the Cowboys were decent? You know, they still fill up. You know, I think, you know, those Texans love their sports. Well, they love their football. I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're pretty good basketball too. Yeah,
basketball
you know,
too.
but even with Dončić, when's the last time they won a championship?
A very long time.
Yeah. So I mean, isn't that the whole goal, right? You know,
of course.
I mean, so
you would think, and could ask some Major League Baseball teams what's the purpose of existing.
Again, it's just, you know, it's got to be some financial thing behind it because it doesn't look like they really gave up very much to get him.
Clearly not.
You know, like what happened? There's got to be some back room, some kind of thing. But I do like the Vegas play, though. I mean, I think that's definitely it's not a matter of if, but when it's going to happen. You know, I mean, anybody that saw, you know, the Las Vegas Raiders like doubled in valuation in less than 12 months.
Right.
You
Just
know,
by
short of getting a Taylor Swift that comes to your games, I don't know how to make any more money that fast. So,
well, great pivot. Speaking of the connector of one franchise in this current Super Bowl, let's go and take a look at Super Bowl 59, Nick. Obviously, we've had
LIX, huh?
So much time to think about, and we hearkened to it a bit in our last episode. But what I wanted to do for this episode is see if we can parse out a bit for our listeners and those watching at home. How do you get to your final score? Specifically, there's 3 props I'd like to look at that maybe we could offer up some quarterback props, what your best anytime touchdown choices might be. No, you can't pick Saquon Barkley. Although we will talk about him.
I mean, what is he like, minus 240?
Yes. We'll get 2 touchdowns.
I did take that bet.
2 touchdowns, or more.
Or more, yeah.
Okay, well, there's one. And then MVP. So many a time, if you choose the MVP, that's kind of saying who the winner is, obviously. So
yeah, and that's
let's start that way.
The last 3 Super Bowls, like I have not bet straight up. I've bet who will be the MVP based on the quarterback.
And why?
Just you can get better odds.
Yes.
Exactly, 100%. So
yes.
I think this up until yesterday, I thought this was going to be a very low-scoring game, and I think it still has the potential to be. And I really think it's going to be a defensive battle and a lot of kicks. I still don't see a world where the Chiefs don't win this game, and Mahomes doesn't win the MVP. I don't see that. The chances of that not happening is very, unlikely, kind of a thing. So
what is the openers at the Book of Baldini's for some of these prices? Obviously, we know currently we're at Kansas City 1, and the total, which, by the way, this is kind of the way I thought it was going to go. It's running opposite the way that the normal trend of any game goes. The longer you get closer to kickoff, the more the total goes higher. However, I'm starting to see some 48.5. So it got as high as, we were talking about before this in some theoretical pricing. We actually were looking at like totals of like 51.5, 52. Well, it opened 49, went up to 49.5, then back down, and I'm starting to see some 48.5, Nick, in the direction that you think this game might go.
yeah. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a final score of 24-17, 21-17. I even threw out 14-10. Again, I think both of these teams have good defenses. We know Saquon is going to break one big rush for a touchdown. He'll have at least is there a prop for that? Will Saquon have a 40-yard rush or more?
There's actually, yes.
Okay, I would jump on that one, depending on price, obviously.
You don't even have to go to 40, Nick. The current number on longest rush for Saquon Barkley, 25.
What's the line on it?
You're looking at almost even money. The trend is actually to go under that number, Nick.
Okay.
So if you like him to get a large chunk play on a rush, you're in for some real good happiness because I don't even think actually it's even 25, Nick. I think it's even like 24 and less. So the defense is what is starting to play itself out in my eyes, and that's actually showing up in the bets that we're taking at the Book of Baldini's. So Saquon Barkley, in your favor, you're actually getting you're looking at a 40-yard gain. You could only look at 23.5, 24 to go over that number. That's good news for you.
Yeah, no, I definitely would jump on that. Again, I would check the line. Just generally with prop bets myself, just my own personal kind of style with it is, it's a volume game. I'll put it that way, right? So I'll make a lot. Instead of making one big dollar prop bet, I'll make probably $10 to $15, $20 prop bets, and just kind of, again, I know I'm not going to win them all, but I'm hoping I win 2 or 3. Depending on what those 2 or 3 is.
At a price.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well,
so
you gave us Kansas City winning this game in a low-scoring affair. So right off the bat, Kansas City minus the 1 is in play. The total, which you went way under 49, you're looking at that as a play. You're looking at alternate totals where you could find here under 42.5. Heck, you can go even as low as I think under 39.5 at a big price. Judging from the scores that you just called out a couple minutes ago, you can rest assured you'll be playing that as well.
Yeah. Another one I just like right now, I mean, it is minus 120, but your first half of over under 24, it's Super Bowl. How many times have we seen them come out and they're feeling each other out? It's a defensive game. And you might not see any scoring, if not maybe a few field goals that first quarter. So I definitely like the under 24 in the first half. I'm definitely like the under 49.5 for the game. Again, nobody wants to watch an under, but I like winning money.
Money's money.
Exactly.
That's
So
what this show's kind of about.
Yeah, I just.
Nick, can we light the fuse on points scored in the first 6 minutes and 30 seconds? Now, that would be a proposition that we put up where the game starts and there is no scoring in the first 6 minutes, 30 seconds, basically.
So 9:30 on the clock.
Yes.
9:30, 9:29 you win.
Are you saying that there will not be a score at 9:29 first quarter?
Ooh, there will not be a touchdown. I don't know if I'm...
I'm not going to let you play into that, though.
It depends on the price. If I can get like plus 150 on that or more, I would jump on that.
You have Mahomes winning the MVP, which, by the way, the current or the opener price. What was the opener price on Mahomes MVP?
21-20.
Okay.
So is that what
basically close to? Let's just call it even money, a little plus.
Mm-hmm.
But far better than laying 120 or
Plus
125.
105, I believe. Yeah.
Right. Right. So there you go. You're letting
Exactly.
everybody know, hey, maybe turn the pages to the MVPs if you know who's going to win, or in your opinion, who's going to win. Play the MVP. Plans on backing that up in case chaos happens, or it's Mahomes or bust?
I actually really, I kind of like the field. And we were kind of talking about this a little bit before we went on. Who is the backup quarterback for the Eagles currently? Is it Kenny Pickett, or is it Carson Wentz? Or am I thinking of something? I mean, how often do we see the backups? But I think Hurts kind of. He wasn't looking. I mean, obviously the championship game was, but the week before he was still a little banged up, and maybe he gets a concussion, maybe something happens, and your backup comes in and steals the show. So
there's a prop for that, by the way.
I do like your field. Oh, there's a prop.
Number of players that take an offensive snap.
Ooh.
So obviously that number's always set to 2.5.
That's a. Oh, okay. Number of players.
Right.
Take a snap. Okay.
Take a snap. So Kenny Pickett actually is the backup. For the Eagles.
So, and that's the thing. It's like, hey, if I took 5, what would you give me as far as you think of odds of Kenny Pickett winning the MVP? Put $5 on it to win what, 5,000 probably?
I was gonna actually say 1,000 to 1.
Yeah. So I mean, again, there's kind of my backups. It's going to be the quarterback. Historically speaking, it's the quarterback. I think in the last 20 years, defense has won once, maybe. Right. But I can't think of anything off the top of my head where it hasn't been a quarterback. No, there's been a running back a couple times.
So.
But that was – I don't know if that was today's style of game, though, with more not as pass-heavy, RPO.
The last time that these two teams – obviously, Barkley wasn't there, but we had Pacheco did okay. Obviously, Kansas City came back, lined up for the field goal to win it by 3 in a game that went easily over the total. But we've got – so this is great because you've got yourself in a position where Kansas City wins thanks to the efforts of Patrick Mahomes. Scoring, you like a low-scoring affair here, Nick. So if there are touchdowns, are they going to the usual suspects? Let's talk about a little bit about the anytime touchdown prop. Pretty popular. We're getting more bet into that index than any other.
I love it.
Who do you see here as getting a touchdown in this game?
I mean, to me, betting Saquon straight up at the minus 240. I don't like the number on that. I mean, it's probably there's a reason it's minus 240. So that's why I took him on 2 or more, just to kind of get a little more skin in the game.
Okay.
I like Kareem Hunt anytime at 15-2. I definitely like Travis Kelce. And again, this is kind of back to the thing where, I'll probably put, about 5 bets in and hope I hit 2 or 3 of them.
Right. Kelce's price, Kelce's anytime touchdown price is what, Nick?
Looks like 8-1.
8-1.
So,
okay. So we got Kelce, we got Barkley twice. Hunt.
I think kind of I wouldn't call it a Hail Mary, but I definitely think it's going to happen. In Super Bowls, you generally see those veterans step up a little bit more because they want it. So I like DeAndre Hopkins at 24-1 to score a touchdown.
Now that's a price.
Again, put $5 on it, hope it hits, kind of a thing. So I also like. I'm a big believer in tight ends. You're down in that red zone. That's where the tight ends really come to shine, and usually you can get great prices. So it's like Dallas Goedert 15-1, Kelce. We already talked about him 8-1.
8-1.
So, those are my, for sure. I already got them in the locked and loaded, ready to go.
You think that with
no touchdown score or at 100-1. What if there's a defensive or special teams touchdown?
That's a touchdown.
Yeah, but okay, good point. So just no touchdown scored at all. Yeah.
I know. So wait, do you think possibly, and share the price with it, if Mahomes wins, obviously if Kansas City wins, Mahomes gets whatever he does, but he gets a rushing touchdown. You would think for sure he gets MVP. What's Mahomes' price at getting a touchdown?
Oh, I can't even.
The rushing touchdown for Mahomes.
Jesus.
I think it's a price.
18-1. Okay, I'm jumping on that one.
Right?
Yeah, I mean that's Mahomes. How do you not? And the guy scrambles. Yeah.
So that's another one that I thought if your side is Kansas City, probably have a look at that. Okay, let's look at some other. So that was.
I also like Jalen Hurts at 5.5-1.
I think that is almost inevitable.
I mean, if they get on the 1 yard line, you know what they're doing. So.
Okay, so that's actually a great point. You just hit on another proposition. Shortest touchdown of the Super Bowl is set to 1.5 yards.
Under.
It's almost always played to the under because of said tush push.
Now, we've had some history with this bet in the past on a personal level. What's the odds on will the kickoff be a return?
Return for a touchdown?
No, just will it be a touchback?
Will it be a return?
Will it be a touchback or return under the new rules?
I don't know if the bookie decided to put this one up this year. I thought you were going to talk about will there be a safety in the game, or will it end up coming back for a different play? But no, yeah, to see the return happen on the opening kickoff
Under the new format?
Under the new format seems unlikely.
Yeah. So probably get a price, right?
Yes. You would play the price?
Again, depends on what the price is. You know what I mean? And if I can get it at more than 3-1, I would take it.
You've given out so far in this segment. You've given out like a good dozen nice props.
Again, volume. It's a volume game when it comes to props. And the thing I love most about props, for the most part, unless you're talking about over under on rushing yards, is you're kind of always in play. You know, I mean, especially with totals. One of the reasons that I don't touch those as much is it kind of sucks. It's halftime, and you already know you're like, I'm not hitting. I'm done for. But, you know, I mean, how many times I just need one more reception or one more touchdown or, you know. So I've always – it kind of keeps you in action. And again, I think you can get some great prices on them, especially if you can parlay them. I wish there was a way to round robin some of these parlayed ones. You kind of got to do it manually, which turns into another whole process itself. True. But
you could find a way.
Yeah, there's a way. There's a will, there's a way.
That's exactly right. And this is what's fun about all this. Look, you may not find Nick's ending of the game in the way you might see it. You might see Kansas City winning it, but you might see it in a whole nother way. And that's the beauty of unfolding a game that has this many propositions. I mean, you know, by next season, I'm pretty sure that we're going to offer up propositions like this for every game, not only the Super Bowl. It just unfolds to itself because there's so many ways that you can handicap the game and come up with a different way to observe it.
Prime example, on my ticket, you know, because I call it the Wike effect. I don't know why. But I parlayed it, so I took Saquon to have 2 or more touchdowns. Okay. On the same ticket, I took Jalen Hurts to throw for I took the under on 1.5 passing touchdowns. So, yeah, if they're going to hand it off more, it's going to go more.
They're clearly the other.
And you just kind of like what you said, you just build out that game, and you just kind of, you can, especially looking at player props, kind of back into those those odds.
That's exactly the term I was looking for. In when you find the end result, you find ways of how you got there. And this is the beauty of this exact episode, is Nick, you did all this homework explaining just how you got there. So we know what the final score is going to be. Generally, we know it's going to go under. We know Kansas City is going to win. Nick, let's touch on a couple of final interesting things here before we break. Firsts. Baldini's offers an awful lot of what will happen first in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And so there are some instances where you could find not only will Philadelphia score first, or the race to is another fun banded index that's offered up. So with the game being relatively lower with a final score than most are predicting, do you see the winner of this game scoring 30 points?
No.
What is the current price on tie or draw at the book at Baldini's for the 30-point band? That neither team will score 30.
20 to 23.
Okay, so it's a little minus.
Okay.
Will the winning team score 25 points?
I'm going to say no.
What's the draw or the tie on that?
19 to 10. Okay, so you get a little.
Now you're close to 2 to 1 odds.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you find a scenario where no one scores 20 points?
I think it is possible, not necessarily probable.
What is the odds currently at the Book of Baldini's that doesn't happen?
35 to 1, which I would jump all over if I could bet it. Yeah, I just for the entire 35 to 1. Again, put $5 on it. That's going to come back to good payday.
Yes.
He buys a nice dinner.
So these are some of the other props that are offered, but the other things that I wanted to touch on, more the novelty ones.
And here's another thing you can kind of do with that.
Yes.
Because, if you're going to put, like, let's say, to make it easy, I'm going to put $10 on the draw, that no team gets to 20. But then I can put, like, kind of some other bets over here, like Chiefs to win by 19 to 24 at 14 to 1. And same with the Eagles. So maybe put like 10 on each one of those. So if it does go all crazy one way, you still kind of got some outs to recoup some of it.
You're building a Baldini sports craps table.
Pretty much. That is exactly
That's what you're doing.
I love prop bets. That's exactly what I do. You just kind of build it in a way where you got some back doors in there, you got some outs, and again, the most important thing that I love about props is, for the most part, you're always in action, right? It's not this, or how many people that bet on the Lions when they were 9.5 or 13.5 point favorites.
Yep.
And how were they feeling about their bets at that halftime?
Sad.
It's like, we're losing by 20 or 18, and I just got to get a 14-point swing, so I got to come up with 34 points in the second half. I don't think that's happened.
No. Very unlikely.
But
well, I love.
I just want it to be a good game. At the end of the day,
we kind of all do. We don't want this to, become a game where everyone's looking at halftime like, I don't need to watch the rest of this.
Who is the backup quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs?
So the players that we're looking at, obviously we knew about Pickett. Mm-hmm. When we look at the backups in general, it's they're all coming full circle. Yeah, Carson Wentz is back on the big stage.
Former Eagle,
I'm saying we're going to see a high ankle sprain.
I don't know. I mean, again, going back to that MVP, it's going to be quarterback, and if something happens, it's just kind of one of those ways you can offset it. How crazy would that be to see Wentz Pickett show down?
That would be
in the second
complete
half.
Madness. So I love my favorite prop of all time, and I could thank the great Mitch Goldich, formerly of SI, who came up with this idea, and it's caught like wildfire nationwide. It's the octopus, Nick. So will a player score a touchdown and then the ensuing 2-point conversion? 6 + 2, 8 points.
Okay.
I'm going to see an octopus in the Super Bowl this year at 18 to 1 odds.
I feel like at 18 to 1, that's too low. It should be a little bit higher. But as dominant as Saquon has been this year, that's probably why it's as low as it is.
Right.
18 to 1, I don't know if that's quite enough to get me to bite. I think if it was 25 to 1, I'd be taking that all day. Only 25.
Yeah. So we're close.
But I don't think anybody on Kansas City will do it.
Correct.
But I do think with Saquon, if you do get in the situation where you're down by 10, you score a touchdown,
he hits it and then he gets the 2.
Yeah, they want to go if there's a need for it.
Same thing with Hurts, Nick. Hurts gets a tush push, and they're like, "Oh, that was awfully easy to get in. Let's try that again for 2."
I think Andy Reid's going to have something up his sleeve for that tush push. Just a feeling I have. Is there a prop for that? Will the tush push be stopped? I don't know how you would. I don't know how you would write that even, but will there be a?
Well, yeah. Yes, actually, there is. It's the prop that we talked about at the top of this segment. The shortest touchdown, 1.5.
Okay.
I would think.
Yeah. Again, I want it to be a good game. We'll see what happens. My initial thought all the way going up until this was it is going to be a low-scoring game. I don't see Kansas City losing. I mean, think about the past 5 years. If all you did was just bet on Mahomes to win in the playoffs, you'd be doing pretty good. So
You'd be doing pretty good.
And what have we learned this year on the Bookie and Bettors show? The trend is your friend.
I can't find a better way to end this episode than with exactly that statement. Thank you again, everybody, for joining us on our Super Bowl / NBA trading deadline episode.
Still more to that trade. I'm telling you, 100%. Like there's something going on, and you might be onto something with that.
Mavericks.
But I mean, why do you need to tank the team first? I mean, just
to make it look good.
Okay.
I had to go.
Do you
Look,
really? I mean,
no one wants
I
to go
understand. One of the great, arguably one of the smartest casino operators of our time is no longer with us. So it's his wife, but he wasn't exactly known for being a nice guy. So why would you need to tank the team first?
This is happening.
Yeah,
This is happening. Well, thanks again so much for joining us on this episode. We'll be back again for far, far more. Don't worry about it. Trust me. No Super Bowl, no problem. We'll be back with an awful lot more great content here at the Bookie and Bettors show. For Nick Schulte, I'm Robert Kowalski. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Bettors show. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be the first to know when new episodes drop. Hit that subscribe button and join us.